Welcome to the Vanilla to Vixen podcast. This show contains adult content, so if you are under 18 or easily offended, please switch off now. Mr. and Mrs. N are not qualified relationship counsellors. This show is for entertainment purposes only. Now the disclaimer is out of the way. Sit back, relax, and enjoy our journey from Vanilla to Vixen.
Welcome to episode 91 of Vanilla to Vixen. We are your hosts, Mr. and Mrs. N, also known as
the Naughty Couple.
Now, you may sort of hear the echoes. You may know that the acoustics are not quite the same as our studio. We are back at the home of V2V, Liberty Elite.
Yay!
And we've got the beautiful Roxy sitting right in front of us.
Hi, guys.
Now, seeing as we're at a swingers club, or a private members club that is predominantly full of swingers.
Yes.
Because you never know, I've got a swinging joke.
Oh, right. Go on then.
It's about swinging.
No. Really?
Yeah. So Tarzan was swinging through the jungle. That kind of swing, you say.
Okay.
And he slipped off of his vine. And he fell and all on the rocks. And he got knocked out. And he wakes up and he thinks, I'm all right. But then looks down and his wiener's completely gone. Cut it completely off on the rocks. See, Roxy's laughing already. Completely cut off on the rocks. He thinks, oh my God. So he's looking around for it, but no, it's gone in the waterfall. It's disappeared. It's gone. So he thinks, oh God, what am I going to do? So he goes to the witch doctor, goes and sees the witch doctor. And the witch doctor says, well, I can't stitch anything else on. I'm fresh out of wieners, but I've got an elephant's trunk from an elephant that died last week. So I could sew that on. I'm sure Jane will be delighted. So I can do that, stick it on, say a witch doctor spell for you and you'll be fine, you'll be all right. So he says, all right then. So the witch doctor does his magic, sticks this elephant's trunk on him, and 2 weeks later the witch doctor saw Tarzan swinging by, and Tarzan's sort of he's looking a bit down and a bit moping really, and he thinks, oh dear. So goes and has a word with Tarzan, and he says, you all right after everything, did it all work? And Tarzan says, Jane loves the new edition, but there's one problem. And the witch doctor says, what's wrong? And he says, the trouble is, he says, my new wiener, he says, keeps picking up peanuts and shoving them up my ass.
That wasn't where I thought it was going.
That's where I thought it was going either.
Oh, there you go. You see, it never does. When you're at the club, it never goes where you think it's going to go.
I feel sorry for the guy on his bike, because I think when you said about his wiener being chopped off, I thought, that's going to distract him.
You see, Roxy, we have a guy that listens on his bike every week. He falls off most weeks.
Yeah, he's been in the hedge a few times, I think, hasn't he?
Well, let's hope he doesn't have an accident and lose his wiener.
Exactly.
I think all the men were suddenly going,
I've got kind of like flashbacks from being here, because we were at the club and we were first here on episode 8 with the former owner, John.
Yes, we were.
And obviously we've got like a new owner of the club now, and who codenamed Chardonnay.
Yes.
And we'll get her on one day. Definitely. I'm convinced of it. And it's so strange recording, because we were only here last night for Dangerous Curves.
Yes, we were.
So it was amazing. We had an amazing night.
It was a great night. It was a really good night.
And we recorded this show directly after Dangerous Curves, and it's just weird being back in the club when it's empty, and kind of like recording a podcast.
Yeah, and the poor old Roxy, bless her, has not had a lot of sleep.
No.
I haven't. Self-inflicted, but no, I haven't. I blame Zeb, to be fair.
Oh, absolutely. I'd blame him too.
Poor guys. Always get the blame. We always get the blame.
I have to say, I had lots of people letting me know that the buffet was out last night. And everybody worried that I hadn't ran off to go and get it, but we had eaten beforehand, so I wasn't very hungry.
It's a very rare occurrence.
Very rare occurrence.
We never get to eat beforehand, but yes, we did last night.
We did.
So yes, we've got. We thought we'd bombard Roxy with questions.
Yes, we've got a couple of corkers, haven't we, this week?
We do normally sort of a single Ask Roxy, but we've got a couple while we're here, and these are. Which we start off with them.
Shall we?
Don't let your worries stop you feeling foxy. Want some advice? Ask Roxy. Ask Roxy.
It's quite a long one.
It is a long one. I read it a minute ago and I was like, oh, that is a long one.
Okay, so this is from a couple called J and S, and they write, Dear Roxy, we had our first foursome with another couple we met on the Swingers site 2 months ago. We were both new to swinging and very nervous. We agreed beforehand to just do soft play. However, things got really hot during the moment. With everyone's consent, we ended up full swapping, and my husband had full sex with the female of the other couple. The gentleman who was on top of me was clearly really nervous and kept going soft. He kept apologising, and his nerves just made things worse. Bless him. I genuinely don't mind, as I was getting off on the whole sexy scene of watching my husband with this beautiful woman. We did even have a little bit of girly play. Very new experience for me. I wanted her husband to be fully satisfied, so I ended up giving him a blowjob, and he came in my mouth. After all the fun was over, we laughed and chatted. The husband of the couple still kept apologising for not staying hard. He seemed to have a real issue about it. I kept reassuring him it was absolutely fine and perfectly understandable for the first time, nerves to kick in. We said thank you for a wonderful evening and they left. We kept in touch via the odd weekly message. They said they wanted another meet when we could manage it. Fast forward 3 weeks and we plucked up the courage to go to the local club. And Mr. and Mrs. N say on the podcast, it really is not as nerve-wracking as you think it's going to be. The night was amazing, however, one thing did taint it. We saw the couple we had the foursome with. They completely blanked us when they saw us across the room, and it felt really awkward. I don't know if the husband of the couple is embarrassed or what we have done is wrong. We seem to get on so well. My question is, should I send them a message or just leave it and put it down to experience? It has left me thinking maybe I'm unattractive and he was just too embarrassed to say he didn't find me sexually attractive. Thank you all for producing such an amazing podcast. It has been a lifesaver for us and literally transformed our relationship for the better. And that's from J and S.
Oh, thanks, Jen S, for that literal blow-by-blow account.
I think it's a shame. I think, you know, it sounds like, and obviously we can only go by what we've heard, it sounds like there might be a little bit of a dented pride there, possibly. But I think it's a bit rude. If you have spent time with somebody, even if you're not interested in playing with them again, there's nothing wrong with saying hello. It's not like, you know, you don't speak to somebody in a club and automatically expect to be in their pants or vice versa. There's nothing wrong with saying a hello and being polite to somebody, even if you've got no intention of playing with them, and especially if you have played, because I just think it's, you know, you've shared some time, whether it went well or not, you still shared some time with those people, and I find it a bit mean. I don't think she should feel it's about her at all. I don't think, you know, clearly they wanted to play in the first place.
Yeah.
But I can understand why she may feel that she's unattractive, and I honestly don't think it's that at all. I think he's had stage fright, and maybe he's feeling his pride has been dented by that, and therefore he's just not wanting to think about it and address it again.
Yeah.
They're both, and they were both newbies, weren't they?
Exactly.
They were both
Yeah.
new, so it could be a lot of social awkwardness.
Exactly. They may not know how to deal with it. And
Yeah.
again, they might not realise that by just not speak or by just speaking to someone doesn't mean again you're going to go off and play. But there's probably an element of embarrassment, I think, mostly. I wouldn't say it would be anything other than that. And as you say, if they both are new, then it's just, I think there's nothing wrong with being nice to people, is there, and being polite.
Yeah, I mean, it happens a lot.
Yeah.
It happens a lot where whatever, maybe the male puts too much pressure on themselves to perform. It's happened to me. It's happened to other people that I know we've spoken to on the podcast before. And it is very hard not to take it personally, because you do think to yourself, well, what's wrong with me?
Yeah.
Especially when you then see them go off and play with somebody else. But that's not the reason.
No, and I think we do put a lot of pressure on ourselves, even just like we always talk about, the hardest thing is getting through the front door. People don't know what's on the other side. They don't know what to expect. They don't know, if their bodies are not necessarily in the right place in their minds. Sometimes you've had a really crappy day at work, and actually that can affect you. Sometimes you might have had a little bit too much to drink. And I think nobody in the scene, as the lady herself said, she accepted the guy who kept apologising. She said, don't worry. She tried to reassure him many times.
Yeah.
She didn't take offence from that until she felt ignored. And I think that's the little bit there that I feel a bit sorry for them, because she's now taken this to heart when actually she's done nothing wrong.
Yeah.
I think the more you spend time in the scene at clubs, and the more you talk to people, the more you kind of shrug off that social awkwardness.
Yeah.
And I mean, we talk about it all the time, don't we? That we share problems with fellow people in the club, whether that be sort of on the fet side or the swinging side. And so you kind of, I think, as you go along and you get rid of that social awkwardness, you share more of your thoughts, your worries, I suppose, with other people. And I remember at the time talking with good friends of ours, and once you get in your head, especially for guys,
it's hard to get out, isn't it?
It is.
that if you're worried about erections and things, you're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And but the more I've spoken to people, the more they've gone, no, that happens, that's normal.
Yeah.
And we kind of share it and we laugh about it now as guys
it is,
we've spoken to it.
And there's a lot of ladies out there who have probably gone, oh my God, it's me, I'm not good enough.
Yeah.
Like, I know they've played with them, maybe she's better at blowjobs than I am, or maybe this, maybe I'm not as very good at that.
Yeah.
And I think, and again, we kind of spend a lot of time getting in our own heads, but I think in terms of, for you guys and for us at DC, there are chat groups that we obviously both have Discord groups, or we're part of a Discord group rather than having our own. But the ladies' chats and the gents' chats are very, very important.
Yeah.
Because the guys will talk about stuff like this without feeling embarrassed, because, without the ladies knowing what's going on. The guys will have those conversations, and they'll be like, and it's kind of takes the stigma away, because they're not going to be like, I'm on my own, I'm the only person this has happened to. That someone else will go, oh God, that's happened to me, or I use this gel, or I've done this, or I try and do that, if get my head out of it that way. And the ladies just as much will be like, this has happened and I don't know how to feel about it, and someone else will jump in and go, oh, that's happened to me before, or this is, and there's so much advice and support, and it's so lovely to have that. And I think it's really important. So, especially for newbies as well. And for your guys, we've got on Vanilla to Vixen, we've got the whole support groups and the reach out rooms and those places. And us Roxy itself, the reason we started doing this was to get advice to people who are new to the scene, who don't necessarily know. But
I think you learn all the time.
So much all the
You
time.
never stop learning. We still learn with every single one.
Absolutely.
I think as well, J and S, I don't know which one the lady is, it could be J, it could be S. I think she's been incredibly mature.
Absolutely.
And tolerant of the whole situation.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of ladies where if her husband's had a jolly good time and that went really successfully, but the other side of the meat didn't, if you like, she could hold a tremendous amount of resentment over the other side. But she's not. She's she's going, totally accept it. It's one of those things. And so I think her attitude, she's kind of beating herself up a bit hard.
Yeah, I do think that, And I think you shrug it off, you drop it, write it up as an experience. Don't let it faze you because, these things happen. It's just,
and I think if people were, honest, I think you'd find that it happens quite a lot.
Oh, I imagine, absolutely. Yeah, it definitely does. I know we've been part of groups before when there's been conversations about these sorts of things.
Yeah.
It's happened in outside life. It doesn't happen just in swinging, does it?
Exactly.
Sometimes, when you're with your own partner, your head's not quite in the right space.
It's sad that the other couple haven't kind of communicated, because it's gone back to communication that you always go on about, Roxy. Because if the other couple have obviously withdrawn, so you can't communicate then. If somebody withdraws, you can't force the other people to communicate. That goes for a relationship between two people or four people.
It does sound more that's probably what's happened. There may be a little bit of embarrassment there, and they don't quite know how to handle the situation. And if you're not, when me and Mr. N went into the naughty hobby in the beginning, I wouldn't even speak to anybody, let alone anything else. So to be newbies and then something like that happen, and you don't quite know how to deal with it, so you withdraw.
Yeah, and I think, had they obviously were texting a little bit afterwards, weren't they, for a short amount of time, and talked about meeting again. And I think it may well have gone, they'd had a plan to maybe do that again, and not expected to see them be in the same place. And so there's a little bit of shock there, and then there's a bit of embarrassment, and a little bit of like, oh God, I don't know how to deal with the situation. So I'm not going to deal with it.
See, there may be some sort of expectation when they saw them, thinking, oh, they'll probably expect to play with us, and then that puts pressure on, and it's like you say though, if you don't do that communication,
they should have listened to the podcast. Don't go with any expectations.
Exactly.
Never have expectations.
So you can see where it can all kind of snowball, and I think, Mr. N, as you're the only gentleman in the room at the moment, would you say men put a lot of pressure on themselves to perform?
Tremendously. Absolutely. But it wasn't until I spoke with other guys, and this is after we'd been in the scene a long, long time, and we've got like really close friends like Busty and Saucy, Mr. and Mrs. Foxy, Sir John and Lady Law, and it wasn't until I spoke to the guys of these kind of relationships where it's like, no, it happens to all of us, and so I suppose it's when you start getting really close to people that then you share more, you open up more about your real probably inhibitions and your worries, and you find out that actually, no, we all experience things like that at times. But I think they obviously, two brand new couples, and one couple were just didn't know. It sounds like JNS tried to communicate, but the other couple you can't blame the other couple. It's just that it wasn't probably the way to do it. And when that happens, this is the results of what happens with no communication.
Yeah, and I think obviously she did say, should she reach out to them, and should she send a message? I probably wouldn't. I think I'd put that to bed. But if you see them again, just go out of your way to say hello, and then just move on. Or smile and move on, just so that they know that there's no hard feelings, and they can decide then whether they are going to reciprocate that no hard feelings. You haven't got to have a conversation, just a quick hi guys, and then you move on. And then there's no animosity, there's no awkwardness when you're in the same club again if you are going to be in that situation. But I wouldn't bother messaging. I think if they're going to reach out, I'd let the others reach out if that's what they're going to do. I don't imagine they would.
I suppose messaging is kind of going out of your way to especially make that communication.
And if the other couple are feeling a little bit uncomfortable for whatever reason, that's just kind of going to put them under a bit more pressure, which is not what you want to do anyway.
No, it might feel more like, oh, they clearly like us, they clearly want to have something else to happen. Whereas if you just kind of go in passing, like hi, and then as you're passing them, and then if they decide to come over later and have a conversation, great. If they don't, you don't. But at least you lose that awkwardness. But I would just chalk it up to an experience. There'll be one of many, I'm sure, over the years.
Welcome to the world of the naughty hobby.
Yeah. But just don't let it get to you, because people ghost. They do, you know, and this whole lifestyle. We have interactions, whether they are short term, medium term, or long term. You know, it might be a couple that meets, never even get each other's names, never swap, you know, profile names, anything like that. You meet, you have some fun, you go your separate ways.
Yeah.
It might be that you become friends and you carry on playing, or that you become friends and you become more platonic. It could be like some who go to swingers clubs and find relationships. I mean, who goes and do stupid things like that?
That would be you.
That would be me. Oh yeah. You know, and so yeah, people come into, was it a season, a reason, or a lifetime? I think is what they say.
Really? I love that, Roxy.
I love that. I've never heard that before.
Something along those lines. But yeah, and I think you just chalk it up, move on to the next, have fun.
But I agree with you. You know, if it's something that is bothering you and you know you want to kind of talk it out, you know, get on the Discord group, because there's lots of support there, isn't there?
Loads, absolutely loads.
For both male, female, whatever, you know, whatever you're going through, there's always somebody there that
someone's always done it, been there, tried it,
got the t-shirt.
I think if you're in a club as well, that's I always say this, that's the real benefit of a club, that if you're doing a private meet and there's that social awkwardness or any kind of awkwardness, you are trapped. You are trapped in a room. And this is what I can't get over with the single guys. Because single guys on Fab will always go, no, you know, if they've never been to a club, they prefer to do a private meet. Oh, no, you know, and they'll say, oh, no, we can never go to a club, there's too much pressure. But there's far more pressure on a private meet than there is at a club. Because like you say, Roxy, you can just kind of just slip away.
Yeah. And it's, I mean, maybe things have changed, and maybe because we're old. Because when we were younger and we went to bars, and you know, and none of us, I imagine, are particularly innocent in terms of, well, maybe that again, it might just be me. But we didn't have mobile phones, so if you were going to see somebody again, you had to arrange to meet somebody again. Like if you hooked up with somebody at the end of the night from a nightclub, sometimes you knew who they were, sometimes you didn't. Sometimes you get their details, but I think people did talk to each other in pubs and clubs and stuff in those days, because that's how you met each other.
Exactly.
There's so much online, and there's so much time spent behind keyboards and behind phones, that I think sometimes we lose the element of being able to talk to people face to face, and that's what clubs give us. Clubs give us that environment again. That you're in, where people want to talk to you, and people are happy to just, even if it's just pleasantries and just.
The phones are locked away.
Exactly.
So
there's no distractions.
Exactly. So you've not got somebody that you're talking to and they're sitting there with their face in their phone and whatever. You actually got somebody's attention, and
and whereas if you go into a pub now, a lot of times you won't speak to anybody else other than the person you're with, or the group that you're with, because people don't talk like they used to. Because I do think we've kind of lost that a little bit of an element of how to talk. Where I think swinger clubs just bring that back, because people are just very open and friendly.
And I think the problem even now with modern pubs, they're not even set out, a lot of the sort of franchise pubs, to socialise. If you look at sort of modern Weatherspoons and pubs like that, they're all kind of individual tables designed where you go up to be served and then go and sit at your individual table. Clubs are completely different. They've got sort of special social areas. And
it is a shame, because I think in these days, unfortunately, it's very difficult for you to just have a friendly gesture to somebody because of the worry that they may take it the wrong way. And Mr. Foxy told us a story last week where he was out with Miss Foxy, and they'd seen this lady, and he happened to mention how lovely she looked. He said she was wearing this beautiful dress. She just looked quite stunning.
Was this actually at a petrol station?
I think I can't remember, but he did actually go up to her car and said, I'm sorry, I hope you don't mind, but I just wanted to say, you look fabulous. You look absolutely stunning. And your dress is beautiful.
Without prejudice, without wanting anything, I just want to say you look stunning.
And he said she went from looking at him like, oh my God, are you going to murder me? to all of a sudden, he said, the biggest beam on her face, which then made him feel good, because it was like, he goes, and it's just so sad that people just don't feel that they can do that sort of thing anymore.
And I think we've talked about this before, and I'm pretty sure we've talked about it on the podcast before, where, you know, it takes nothing to be nice to somebody. And if somebody's having a really, really shitty day, having somebody walk up to you, whether it's, I don't know, like, that's a really nice dress, or you've got fabulous tights on, or, oh my God, your hair's amazing. Like, just something in the middle of the street, walking past someone and going, something positive could change someone's whole day. Yeah. And I just think there's a whole pay it forward thing. I think if someone's nice to you, just be nice to somebody else. And I think this would be a not better place if we were just a little bit nicer. And
exactly. I mean, if one person does it one day and then maybe, you know, 2 people do it another day, suddenly it starts to grow. Yeah. And what's nicer than being either given a compliment or giving a compliment? Yeah. It just, like you say, it changes your day completely. Yeah. So
my mum actually used to tell a story in her younger days, which she used to call her salad days. She was walking along popular sort of high street in a town, and 2 cars crashed. Literally, a car went into one another. And there was a guy who was waiting for it. It was all part of a business thing, which I won't go into the details. But there was a guy waiting for her, and he absolutely was cracking up. Just found the whole thing hilarious, because he was standing and saw how the cars crashed. Yeah. When he got there, he said, "You do realise they crashed because they were looking at you." I think my mum was wearing like a mini skirt or something, and the cars actually rolled into each other. That boosted my mum's, you know.
Yeah, but, I mean, your mum was absolutely stunning. When she was younger.
But, you know, even then, obviously her confidence wasn't, because she would always go back to that story and say, you know, rather sort of, I caused 2 cars to crash. So it just goes to show you, sometimes not just a day, but it can literally...
It stays with you.
Yeah, you know, definitely does. And I think we all could do with a little bit of a boost every now and again. Just something, because we all get our own, you know, again, in our own heads about stuff and feeling a little bit down about things. And it's just, I like nice people, and I like being nice.
I think this is one of the things about people that are in the naughty hobby are so lovely, because they do compliment people. They are nice to people. And they're just a great bunch of people to be around.
Yeah,
that's where it's about going to the right sort of club. So if we've got listeners who are sitting there and thinking, okay, I want to go to a club, and it's picking the right sort of club. Yeah, where, like Liberty Elite, they have the motto, you leave your judgment at the door. So in other words, that just basically being nice is expected of everyone. Yeah, when you go inside the club. Yeah, and I think, and then eventually when the bell rings, it's time to go home, it's like, oh shit, I've got to go back into the real world. Yeah. Because everyone, you know, is so different when they're in the club. Yeah.
But it does leave you on a high.
Oh, it does, absolutely. And I think, you know, we get people coming from all over. You know, you guys get people travelling quite a distance on a regular basis to your party. We had guys in from Southampton last night. We had a couple of ladies, one from Scotland, you know, travelled all the way down. Yeah. And we had an American lady in.
Yes, she did.
And it just, you know, we get a lot of people from all over. And I think, again, what we've said this before as well, but maybe with 91 episodes, we've probably said quite a lot many times, haven't we? But
we're all a lot older, Roxy, and the memory's not quite as good.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, you know, clubs are different. Wherever you go, clubs are different. And, you know, we're very lucky in the Midlands. We were talking to some couples last night saying, you know, we're very lucky around here. We've got so many clubs, so many different types of clubs as well. You know, we've got Leicester, we've got Birmingham, we've got Nottingham, we've got, you know, down towards, you know, JD's and Penthouse and VA, and, you know, all these, you know, really good clubs. But they are different, and they have different people in them, and they have different events, and they have, you know, just it's never one size fits all.
Yeah.
And just because your local club, you might have an awful experience, you might not like it, you might not like the decor, you might just, you know, it might be something you're not keen on. Don't think that is what all clubs are like, because they are all very, very different. Keep try another one. Just, you know, just never think after your first try of something, that's it. It's not for me, because you just don't know what else is out there, and there's so much in this lifestyle. that is, to open your eyes up to. If you give it a chance.
And clubs can be so different night to night, can't they?
Definitely. Yeah, absolutely.
Events, we've gone to one event and the vibe is completely different to another event. And I suppose you could compare something to like Dark Desires. So Dark Desires is a completely different vibe to, say, Vanilla to Vixen.
Yeah.
So yes, thank you, JNS, for that question. It was a good one, that one. I enjoyed talking about that.
It is a conversation that you could talk about for a long time.
Yeah.
And I think there'll be a lot of people listening to this podcast going, yep, totally get it, been there.
And if you've been on the side of JNS, where that, I think that lady's got an exemplary attitude to the whole thing of having no resentment to the other couple.
Exactly.
And despite the fact, like I say, her husband and the other lady had a obviously jolly good time. She got shortchanged, bless her. But so what? It happens sometimes.
Exactly. And sometimes you don't need to have that full experience to even have a good time.
Absolutely. Well, again, see, for me, I don't swing at all. Zeb does, but part of it is him coming back and talking about it with me, and that involves me. So I might not be involved at the time, but I'm involved afterwards. And again, the couple themselves, she may well not have had the same experience as he did, but they would have gone home, they'd have talked about it, they probably would have had some fun talking about it and thinking about it. And she said she enjoyed watching him with a beautiful lady. So it's not necessarily all about that full-on sexual gratification. Because some of us just like to watch, some of us like to talk about it, some of us... There's so many different varieties of people, isn't there, in one space. Not everybody goes there for the same reason. They themselves, they went there for a soft swap situation.
Exactly.
It turned into something more for one of them, not for both because of circumstance. So it just goes to show, as we've said already today, you leave your expectations at the door, because you never know.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Absolutely. So, we have a second question.
Okay.
This one's really interesting. So, this is from a guy called Matt. That's his swinging name. And Matt writes, Hi, Roxy. We are a couple, male 45 and female 26. This sounds really cheesy, but we met on the swinging scene at a club and literally fell for each other immediately. What we were just talking about. We've been together as a couple now for almost 12 months. We are totally besotted with each other. We've stayed on the swinging scene and both love being on it as a couple. Our friends in the vanilla world keep asking what the secret is to our relationship. The only problem we have had is my partner's family didn't accept me very well because our age difference. Being honest, I'm closer to my girlfriend's parents' age than hers. I have really tried hard to be accepted by her family, and after almost 12 months, they were just beginning to accept me. They do not know that we are swingers. They never knew their daughter was on the scene as a single either. We told them we met through work. My girlfriend's oldest sister has just started working for the same company my girlfriend works at. To cut a long story short, it's only a small company and my girlfriend's sister quickly discovered I have never worked there.
Cover blown.
Yeah, this has left us in a very difficult situation. My girlfriend's parents know we lied to them about where we first met and are making a big deal out of the fact we lied to them. My girlfriend wants to tell them everything. She is very angry and upset about their constant judgment. I fear their heads will explode if she tells them that we are in the naughty hobby. I don't want her to lose her family. I also know I will be blamed for her being in the swinging scene despite the fact that she was already a swinger when I met her. I am at a loss as what to do for the best. Yours, confused Matt.
Well, that's a predicament, isn't
It's
it?
horrible,
That is a
isn't it?
predicament.
It's
It
really
is so
horrible.
tough, isn't it?
Yeah, and I remember I used to talk to my sister a bit about the people I'd met through the kink scene when I first started, and she'd go, "How do you know them? How do you know that person? How do you know them?" Because I'd always talk about these new people in my life.
Yeah.
How did you meet them? And I'd kind of, I'd say, I just met them at such and such, or in the pub, or this, that, and the other. And eventually I did have to come clean to her because she knew there was something. I think when I eventually told her, she went, "Oh, is that it?" Because I think God knows what she got in her mind.
Yeah.
But that's very, very different for me to tell my parents. You know, my parents don't know about this. They still think I work in a pub somewhere. And I keep having to remember the name of the pub that I've said that I work in.
I never knew that. I've known you all this time. I've never knew that.
And the amount of times someone's gone, "Oh, I've popped into that pub." I'm like, "No, I'm not there anymore." And one of those, just dread the thought of them thinking, "Oh, can I speak to?" I nearly said my own name then. Can I speak to Roxy? No, she's never. There's nobody here with that name. So we all have fibs every so often, don't we?
Yes.
I think it's really hard. Obviously, you've tried to cover the best way you know how, and I think if you're going to lie, you need to be as close to the truth as possible.
Yeah,
and he's clearly,
to be believable.
He's clearly thinking of his girlfriend as well.
Yeah,
he said he doesn't want to lose a family. He's obviously got,
I think he's absolutely got best intentions. I understand why she's incredibly frustrated with her family for not accepting in the first place, and the fact that they felt like they've had to lie to, just for him to be accepted.
Yeah,
and I think maybe she sits down with her parents to say, it doesn't matter where we met. It's not, it doesn't matter where we met. The reason we had to lie is because...
Yeah, it does sound as though there is a lot of judgment there anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
She's clearly angry and upset.
You judge him, and it shouldn't be the thing that comes between them, and hopefully that doesn't happen. I don't think necessarily telling them the full truth is the right way to go about it. Find a way of being half honest.
Yeah, and you can actually not lie, but just not give all of the information.
Yeah.
So, for example, when when Mr. N and I got outed, and even before that, really, because obviously with the kids and everything else, we never actually lied about certain things. That Mr. N worked at a club.
But we just didn't sort of say all the details of
what type of club it was. And it was then we've been approached by the owner to do an event, and then
there's no need to give all the sordid details.
Exactly. So in that way, then if anything happens, you can say, "But I didn't actually lie to you.
Yeah.
What I told you was actually the truth."
Yeah.
You just don't need to go into that amount of detail.
Yeah. If you say we met at a hotel, or we met in a pub, in a bar, in a club, the amount of people I've told I met my partner in a smoking shelter, because it did.
Exactly.
I didn't say where the smoking shelter was. But that's where it was. Yeah. So I think,
it was like somebody asked us, a close family friend. People know, we're very close to Delicious Debs.
Yeah.
And a family friend had said, "Oh, well, how did you meet Delicious Debs?" And Delicious Debs has a company, doesn't she?
Yeah.
And we just said, "Oh, we met her that way."
Through business.
Through the business, which was not a lie.
No.
We just didn't say what business.
Yeah.
It was monkey business.
So there is a way of if you don't feel that you want to lie to people, because that it is a difficult thing. When you think, I hate lying to them.
He clearly does. He's clearly sort of... But I just certainly withholding some of perhaps the more sordid details.
I think sordid's the wrong word.
I do too.
Mr. N. It's not sordid at all.
But in his eyes it is.
I know.
Otherwise he would say...
I don't think it's so much that. I think it's the perception that other people have, especially people in the vanilla world. They still have this whole thing of that, it's disgusting and it's this and it's
so
that.
Stigma, isn't there?
Therefore he's carrying the guilt of that.
Exactly, because of how it's perceived by other people.
Yeah, and I get where he's coming from in terms of he thinks that if it does come out, that he will get the blame, even though she was there of her own volition, and that's where they met. Yeah, it will come back and they will blame him somehow, because may not want their little girl to be involved in something so sordid, that it must be his influence.
Exactly.
Because she couldn't possibly have done that on her own, you know.
And I suppose because he's older than her as well, they're automatically going to put...
He's influencing her somehow.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, and I get that's probably why she wants to tell all.
Yeah.
Because she's wanting to go, actually, no, like this, he's very important to me. This is how we met.
She's almost standing up for their relationship, isn't she?
Absolutely.
But again, he doesn't want it to come between her and her family. And unfortunately, you know, not necessarily just the lifestyle, but family relationships do break down when, you know, if they don't like a person's partner for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Hopefully that doesn't happen.
I think that the hardest bit about it is you cannot control what other people, how they're going to take the news.
Yes.
You know,
I think it's frustrating because us on the other side of the club door, you know, on the inside, we know the tremendous positives that just simply being in the hobby brings. It brings tremendous friendships.
Yeah. You
know, you learn about yourself, great things about
so
yourself.
Much. Yeah.
And
confidence. You get so much confidence, and, you know, in a world that it's so quick to drag you down. I mean, we can really build you up.
We've openly said that being in the naughty hobby has made us better people.
Yeah. I think it's made me a better person.
It's definitely made me a better person.
The trouble is, for those people on the outside that look at it in a sordid way, they're never going to understand that.
No.
It's like trying to teach a 5-year-old algebra. It's just not going to work out very well.
Yeah.
It's going to be very frustrating for
It can be frustrating, and I'm sure you won't mind me mentioning this, Mr. N, but, you know, we have talked openly about your friend that now knows about us being in the naughty hobby.
We're going to get him on the show one day.
We are going to get him on the show, and you joke about a lot, don't you, the pair of you? But I get frustrated with it because the things that he comes out with are so antiquated, and it's like, it's not like that. You need to come along and experience it for what it is and not what you think it is.
Yeah.
So I understand her frustration as well.
He's a single guy, you're just grooming him slowly.
We're trying.
Friday night, come along.
But I do think what you say, Roxy, is a good thing. You can be honest without giving away too much information.
There must be a way for her to be able to kind of get her parents off her back without having to say everything, but also so that they can just get on with enjoying their lives.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly.
Life's too short.
And it's a bit of like, what is the big deal about where they met? Like you say, it's not really that important.
I mean, the parents are probably worried or saying it's the lie that's the problem.
Yeah.
I guess they've got to just find. It's a hard one. I mean, it depends obviously now what they've said. You know, how much they've said so far. Is there any way they can go back to kind of make it more like, you know, it was a hotel, it was this, it was that, without having to go into too much detail. Obviously, it'd be nice actually to know some of these advice we give to people. Sometimes it would be lovely if sometimes they came back and went, that worked, that didn't work.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it was terrible. You know, like just just something so we know that we sit here chatting about stuff, but actually we don't know whether we are impacting people in a positive way or not. Hopefully we are.
I guess the guy, Matt, isn't it? His swinging name.
Yeah.
I guess he almost has in his defence that if they did kind of even come clean and say we met at a swingers club, at least the parents know that it wasn't his influence. She was already there.
Exactly.
That's it.
And just because, you know, you say you're at a swingers club doesn't mean to say you were actually doing anything.
No, exactly. I mean, why not just say we met at a club?
Yeah.
We met at a club. It could have been a working men's club. It could have been a sports club. It could have been anything. They don't have to go into any more detail than that. We met at a club.
Yeah.
We started talking and we got together, and, you know, that it is what it is.
Yeah.
Golf
it's
club.
unfortunate that they got caught out, you know.
I know.
It could be a golf club full of swingers. No lies there.
It could have been a playground.
Absolutely, yes.
Near the swings.
Near the swings. Yeah, although at that age, though, a single gentleman wandering in a playground, probably not so much.
No, don't go down that one.
It's just going to make it this worse.
I mean, the thing is as well, you could really go to town and think, well, you know, if they're going to think bad of me anyway, I might as well make up the most elaborate story ever and, you know, live this amazing lie.
Absolutely, I would.
I can't lie to save my life. That's my thing. I'm really rubbish at it. So.
Oh, my face gives me away.
Yeah, me too.
It's quite interesting when you go into a club to speak to some people and hear, they'll always say, you know, where are you tonight?
Yes.
Yeah.
What's your alibi?
And we got by for years by saying that I used to do DJing, didn't I? At Masonic. I worked out that Masonic gigs, if it was a Masonic gig, because obviously like the whole Masonic culture is secretive.
Yes.
So then no one could know where I was.
Yes.
You know, so it was brilliant. I got away with that for years until I kind of...
worked quite well, didn't it?
I love it.
And it's really weird because when you tell people, and it's like Mr. N said to me, and I'll say, oh, well, you know, I've told such and such at work, and he was like, flipping heck, did they not ask where you were? And I said, funny enough, they're never that interested. Which, you know, you automatically think they're going to start asking questions, and they don't. They just kind of accept it and go, well, okay. So, and it is that thing as well, and I know we've talked about this lots on the podcast, it's that sometimes when you do get found out, it's not always as bad as you think it is.
No.
But you cannot control how other people are going to react. And in fairness, that's a them problem.
Yes.
Not a you problem.
Yeah. You know, if they really care, they should accept her for being who she is. Yeah. And clearly she was in this lifestyle before she met him. Yeah. So, you know, that's...
Her question to her parents is, am I hurting anyone? What am I doing wrong? Yeah. And are you happy for me? I'm very happy. You know, are you happy for me?
Yeah, just be happy for me.
And if
you love me, be happy for me.
Yeah,
exactly.
And if they have a problem with that, then that's their problem, isn't it? It's not hers.
You know, and ultimately they felt like they've had to tell, you know, a lie because of the expectation that you know, he's already not being... you know, accepted. Yeah. They're expecting it to be worse, so they felt like they had to do that, and that's, you know, it's a shame. It
is a shame.
It can be a simple case of saying, you know, you realise how much pressure you're putting me under, and how much I feel judged. That we're having to say this.
Yeah, exactly. Oh well. Listen, guys, if you are listening out there and you take Roxy's advice, then, you know, let us know how you've got on. Either way, we'd like to let you know that obviously we support you.
And if it all goes horribly wrong, remember this is for entertainment purposes.
You are so bad.
Get the little disclaimer in there.
Yeah, I am not qualified at all for any Ask Roxy advice ever.
Excellent.
In fact, my friends would tell you never to trust anything that I say.
Oh God, this is all going horribly wrong. It's like the Wizard of Oz when you pull the curtain back. Roxy's got this wonderful persona and it's all been blown apart.
No, I'm good at giving other people advice. I'm really rubbish at taking it. That's my biggest problem.
I think we're all...
I was going to say, I think we're all guilty of that, aren't we?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Do as I say, not as I do.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
I know, I do what Zeb tells me.
Which is not always a bad thing, honey.
Definitely not.
We so want to get him on here, don't we?
Yes. Zeb is very elusive.
He's very elusive.
He's an enigma.
We're going to get him. We're going to get him soon.
Yeah. Even if it's just to talk about his fabulous shoes.
Don't. He always outshines me, literally, sometimes.
Talking of which, have you got any ideas for sort of forthcoming themes for your Dangerous Curves parties?
Yeah, I mean, we cut the themes back a little bit, to be fair, because, you know, cost of living, and I mean, we always go ridiculously over the top, so even just to save our own pennies, we thought we'd cut back on the themes this year. But every time we have ladies going, well, what's the theme? Well, there's no theme, but I don't know what to wear. So, like, having,
so true.
Yeah, actually having themes seems to be more popular than not. So, yeah, we've got a couple coming up anyway. May's going to be fantastic. We're doing a mismatch party, and that probably isn't going to make a lot of sense. But for us, it's more like think old school fancy dress parties.
Okay.
So you could have, I don't know, a gorilla stood next to a fairy, stood next to a
Brilliant.
knight. Like just, the old fancy dress parties. There's no theme.
Yeah.
Just if you've got a fancy dress costume in the back of your wardrobe, chuck it on and come and have a party with
You
us.
could come as the weirdest, most wonderful creature.
Yeah, just, if you've always wanted to be a fairy and you just got some wings, chuck them on. Like, it's just, it's going to be, there's no expectation for people to dress up anyway. Some people hate dressing up. That's absolutely fine. But if you want to come dressed as, I don't know, a witch and it's not Halloween, just, do it. It's
Could you come as a mismatch yourself? So could I do the
Yes.
bottom half in my kilt, for instance?
yes.
But
You love your kilt, don't you?
I do, but then the top half, I could wear my big Irish Guinness hat.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Because we were thinking things like half Jack and half Sally,
Brilliant.
or coming as a couple, coming as two halves of different couples. But so you'd have two famous couples, and the male comes from one half of one couple.
Yeah.
And so you're all together, but you're mismatched. So there's no real rules other than just come as whatever you really want to dress up as.
Do you remember those books you used to get when you were kids, and it was of people and they were dressed in different outfits, and you could
you could
turn
flip.
the top
Yes.
half of one, and then the bottom half would be
Yes.
the mismatch. It's a bit like that.
Yeah. So it can be anything. Whatever mismatch means to you, that's what it is.
Roxy's
There's-
imagination, I want to just look into it and have
Oh my lord, no you don't.
it's like, do you remember the Mr. Ben cartoon?
I love Mr. Ben.
It's like the shopping there. There's everything from an astronaut to a
Yes,
chef.
that's exactly. I want someone to come along as Mr. Ben. I might come along as Mr. Ben. Or the shopkeeper.
The shopkeeper. I can just see Roxy in a little fez. Did he wear a fez?
Yes.
He wore a fez.
Fez.
Yeah.
He did.
God, as if
Yeah.
by magic.
I suppose I would have to come back after last week's podcast as a shopping trolley,
Yes.
as Mr. N described me.
You check. Roxy probably doesn't know this, so she's not.
No, Roxy was there.
Oh, yeah, but she doesn't know what I described it
Well,
as.
no, I know you didn't know.
So I don't know if you were there when Mrs. N got chained by a nipple clamp.
I was there, yes. I was keeping my nipples firmly out the way because I don't like clamps, but yes.
On last week's podcast, I described her as looking like a Waitrose shopping trolley.
Just waiting for someone to put a pound in.
Yes.
She didn't really understand the compliment. It wasn't.
That's brilliant.
It wasn't an Aldi trolley.
You can see why I adore him, can't you?
Yeah. I also see where his mind goes, and it's probably not dissimilar. So
I wouldn't mind, but
Yeah.
somebody did actually say, does that mean I have to pay £1 so I can borrow her?
It all fits into the whole theme of the thing. It's wonderful.
perfect. Yeah,
So,
she's got
yeah.
a wonky wheel, but she's all right.
And she never goes in the direction you want her to.
Yeah, no, she's got a mind of her own. That one.
Started a whole new thing. See what you've done.
Absolutely.
Honestly.
Absolutely.
Love it.
Oh, bless you. So that's for the DC that's in...
That's May's.
That's
yeah,
May's
17th of
DC,
May.
okay.
That one.
Excellent.
Cool. We'll look forward to that one.
Yeah, June. I'm not sure about yet. So I think because I'm Zebless in June.
No.
It's very sad, but yeah, no, we have a lot on. We have a lot on in June, and so yeah, he can't make DC in June. So I'm thinking maybe like a chill out sort of music, a little bit lower, R&B, chill out tunes,
Nice.
more of relaxed. Rather than sort of not being able to hear each other speak, and
Yeah.
just like real chilled but nice vibe.
Yeah.
Especially because it's getting warmer and just something more relaxed would be.
And if you want, we could come along and be your co-partners in
Yes,
June.
oh my god,
Absolutely.
we could have a DC V2V
Yes.
like mix match.
Yeah.
It'd be fabulous.
We'll come and chill out with you.
Yeah, it'd
What
be
do
lovely.
they call it? What do they call it when... A collab.
We're doing a collaboration.
Crossover collab, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would do. That's cool.
Yeah.
Because in June we've got Summer Solstice.
Oh yes.
So that's going to be fun. So you can dress up as a white witch. We don't want the kind of Halloween witches.
No. pagan. We're looking
More
We're looking at
definitely more
summer
pagan.
solstice. Think Stonehenge. So it's all like white witches and dirty druids.
Isn't it like naked dancing with flowers in your hair and
Yes.
moonlight and stuff? Is that not?
Absolutely.
I think the
Why are you aiming at that?
because the dancing area of Liberty Elite isn't in the naked areas.
It might be nice in the garden.
Yeah.
You could have some naked garden under the moonlight.
We could all dance around the naughty tree.
Oh, this is sounding brilliant.
See? Perfect.
It's
Yeah.
sounding like some kind of fucked up version of the In the Night Garden where they're dancing around the naked tree.
With the ninky donks.
Yeah, the ninky donk. I always thought whoever wrote that was a complete wrong answer, to be honest.
They were definitely in the naughty hobby.
They're on something.
If
The
you've
nin-
got Macapaka packing his stones, then, you know.
We've probably broken several copyrights by talking about it. Just sue us, send it to the normal
Advertising,
address.
what do they want?
Exactly. Just join the big queue of people suing us. Send to the normal address. But so we've got summer solstice, so we've got that. And that could be really cool. I like that.
Now, last year you did a Club Tropicana event, didn't
We
you? Which
did,
was
and
amazing.
we're trying to decide whether to do that again. July, we've already got Neon 90s.
Oh.
So we're doing hitting the 90s tunes and anything neon except for face paint.
Can we bring glow sticks?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm thinking like face transfers and neon makeup. Anything like that, but nothing that's going to cause a mess on the sheets in the club because we don't want to get into trouble.
Excellent. Glow sticks and those. Do you remember when you used to go to the seaside towns and you used to get things that you could join up?
Yes, yeah.
You kind of-
those like the bracelets and the you can put them into necklaces and things, can't you?
They kind of break them, wouldn't they, to set the actual
Yeah.
neon going?
You have to kind of click them, don't you, to get it going. Do you know what I love? And somebody has got to do this. Is where I don't know whether people have seen on TikTok where they dress up with the glow sticks in certain places, turn the lights off and dance around.
Do you know Liberated did it? So Liberated is another one of the club nights, and they have often do neon parties. I think we're not stealing, we're just borrowing. And they had where the cross is by the dance floor area. They put a figure in
That's
the glow
so
sticks
cool.
it looked brilliant. So that was really good.
They're quite funny, aren't
My
they?
first experience with one of those glow sticks, I'd say, was where you could join it round your neck.
Yeah.
And as a child, I chewed it. My mother thought I was a bit simple.
There's nothing worse. I tell you what I've had happen, and it was Mr. N and I used to do school discos many moons ago, didn't we? And they had glow sticks, and I think one of the kids came up and asked me to sort of activate the thing, and as I went to bend it, it broke and literally
it goes
shot in my
everywhere.
eye.
Also, as well, the small child walked away looking like he'd just been to Sellafield.
From head to toe.
I have to apologise to the parents.
I'm so sorry. You have
A radioactive
radioactive child.
And needless to say, we had to move on to do other discos elsewhere.
we were never invited back there. funnily enough.
No, definitely not. Right, in that case, then you need to treat me to some neon underwear. That's one thing I don't have in my wardrobe, and I'm very jealous of all the ladies that wear the neon underwear.
Yeah,
Well,
there's
something
some
we'll have to look
beautiful
into.
lingerie. I'm jealous every time I see ladies in the lingerie. That some beautiful outfits. Again, last night, there's some absolutely stunning
No, I'm not
lingerie.
having that, Roxy, because your outfit last night was stunning. It was beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, it's getting warmer now, you see, so I have to start wearing less because I just get so hot.
Here's where the guys are so envious of the ladies. Although I suppose we could just, I always forget, I suppose we could just like dress down to our boxers.
Yeah, shorts,
Which a
towel.
few of them do.
I don't know why I don't.
I don't know why you don't.
I might do that. That's on my
Maybe because you have boring boxers, whereas
I do.
You know, when you've got people like Mr. Horny
I was gonna say.
and Saucy who are in their
Yeah.
oddballs and
I can't compete
One of the
with the...
squirrels as well. He's also got some fabulous.
exactly.
How about we have a listener suggestion party? So listeners could suggest suggest their parties to us, and we could like pick the best ones out.
Yeah.
Do one each.
That's a really good
Yeah, that would be really
idea.
cool, actually. Yeah, I'm happily...
Suggest one for
Yeah,
Dangerous
that-
Curves, suggest
yeah.
one for like Vegas or Vanilla to Vixen, whatever we decide.
We could even take the best of the suggestions and get people to vote in and just
Yeah.
which one's their favourite.
Yeah, that's really good.
That is a really good idea.
So, if you've got a mental imagination,
Most of our listeners have mental imaginations. That's because they listen to us.
send your suggestion for naughty parties into naughtycouple@yahoo.com or send it to us on Fab Swingers, naughty couple spelled NAUGHTYCP1.
Yes.
And the best ones will be transformed into a whole scene of madness.
That
Love
would
it.
be awesome.
Absolutely love it.
That would be hilarious. We're definitely doing that.
And we've got an event on Sunday at Liberty Elite, which is going to be really good.
Yeah, I'm excited about this one.
So it's one of the very first afternoon swinging events. So we've got one on May the 26th, which I am keep plugging because I'm really excited about that. That's called Curiosity, which is a kind of a by curious
Yes.
afternoon, 2 o'clock to 8 p.m. That's on May the 26th. But this Sunday is a sin day.
Yes.
I like that.
Yes.
Explain, Roxy. What's this one all about?
Well, it's it's a lot. How often do you wake up on a Sunday with a bit of hangover horn? And think, where can I go? Well, Libs hopefully will be that place. Yeah, it's a chilled vibe, but it's somewhere just to come along on, jump in the tub, relax, chat to people. The music will be fairly low, and just enjoy the
It's
pleasures.
very fashionable because down south there's quite a few clubs now that are opening up on Sunday afternoons, just normal nightclubs.
Yeah.
They're doing Sunday afternoons.
Yeah.
And so now Liberty Elite's doing it. So it's like 2 o'clock till 8 p.m.
2 till 8, yeah. Yeah, it's for existing members and for new members.
Okay.
So yeah, couples and single ladies can just come along, or they can just complete the application form on the door. Single guys do need to just apply through the normal process, so it's emailing the club and going through the normal membership process. But yeah, all the details on the website in terms of how to apply. But yeah, it should be a really chilled out afternoon, and hopefully, if it's nice, we can get outside and enjoy the fabulous garden.
Awesome.
I have a question.
Okay.
Is there food?
I'm sure there must be.
Buffet. A
I'm
Sunday
sure.
buffet.
A Sunday buffet.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it'd be like all my Christmases had come at once.
You could get like a, I don't know now, I'm getting carried away.
Oh, here we go.
Perhaps
dear.
I'm thinking Sunday lunch, you have a Yorkshire pudding filled with like cocktail sausages.
Cheese and gravy. I mean, that would be very messy.
This has just turned into like a splash party.
We were talking about this last night. Oh my gosh. So we had a whole conversation about splashing last night towards the end of DC because it's something that it fascinates me. And yeah, we were talking about having a slip and slide in the back garden with custard. But every time we sort of spoke, Chardonnay was very much, hang on, this sounds quite messy. I think she's planning on hosing everybody down.
It's kind of reached Chardonnay and then stopped.
Yeah.
I've always, you see, I've kind of, it always looks really good fun.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how sexy it is or whether it's just the funness of it.
I mean, you'd be surprised. So I think the conversation started because I said, I've always got a backup plan. If all else fails, men will pay for a fat bird to sit on cake on the internet. So if all else fails, I know that I've got a job out there. I can sit on cake all day long on the internet. So, yeah, and that's how it started. Because you need a plan. You always need a plan. You never know what's going to happen.
Absolutely.
You need a plan. And that's how it started, is sitting on cake. And then from that, it was paddling pools full of jelly and I mean, I'm not sure the cold baked beans is particularly sexy, but
no.
you know, a couple
No.
of ladies rolling around, you know, play fighting in jelly might be quite sexy.
Yeah.
But the slip and slide with custard, I think, is just brilliant.
We were kind of halfway to a splash party at our last summer Vanilla to Vixen party, where we had about 30 litres of melted ice cream.
Because as usual, Mr. N had overestimated everything.
And it was fucking hot that day, and it was melting. It was like, oh my God.
It brought a whole new meaning to Mr. Whippy, didn't it, darling? It was more of a Mr. Drippy.
I was just basically offering people like a little carton of cream when they came. It was shit. We're not doing that again.
How funny.
Oh, you can have so much fun in this naughty hobby.
Absolutely. And that's, you're not hurting anybody as long as you don't get in trouble for messing up the club.
Yeah.
So there's your chance. You could come and meet us all on a chilled out Sunday afternoon, this Sunday, Liberty Elite. Single guys, you remember you've got to go through the normal membership process. So just check on the Liberty Elite website. There's also all the other amazing events. So if you need a little bit of planning, you could go to Dangerous Curves.
Yeah.
So your next date for Dangerous Curves
We are
is
back on the 17th of May. And that's the mismatch.
Mismatch.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that.
I'm going to look into Mr. Ben cartoons on YouTube as I speak.
That somehow sounded wrong when you said that.
Yes.
You're not gonna sort of, get off on watching Mr. Ben, are you?
No. Very wrong. Very wrong. I've been doing this job too long. And then obviously, so we've got that, and we've got obviously May, we've got Vegas Vixens.
Vegas Vixens
May
on
the
the
10th. So we've got loads of good stuff coming up, and we're always here if you want to send us a message. naughtycouple@yahoo.com. If you want to contact Dangerous Curves, how do you do that, Roxy?
So we are on Fab. And we are on Spicy Match.
Yes.
Both are the profile name Dangerous Curves Parties, or email dangerouscurvesparties@gmail.com.
And if you're not on Spicy Match, you can get 12 months free by entering the code V2V.
Yeah.
Get 12 months free membership.
Yes.
So there you go, you can get straight on. It won't cost you anything.
No.
It's brilliant.
It is.
So thank you so much, Roxy.
Thank you for having me in person. It's been
Oh,
fabulous.
it's been lovely.
It's amazing. Amazing. I think I'm going to go and get ready now for Sinful Sunday already.
I thought you were going to start looking at your mismatch outfit.
Well, I'm a bit frightened now about the Mr. Ben. Put me right on. I might just look on eBay on the dress-up costumes instead.
No fluffy shorts, though.
Oh, no, I learnt my lesson last year.
With your Barbie shorts.
Barbie shorts ended up like an arse full of candy
You
floss.
did. Because you went commando, didn't you?
Commando with fluffy pink shorts.
It wasn't a good look, was it?
Well, not when I took them off, no. Put me right off candy floss.
And don't forget, listeners, if you've got an idea for a party that we can throw at Liberty Elite, get your ideas into us,
Yes.
and we'll pick out a couple of them, and we'll make sure that they get
Turned into real life.
Yeah. Excited.
I think it's going to be interesting to see how bizarre people's minds are.
Oh, I dread to think.
I know.
I'm a little bit frightened. So all there is now is for us to say goodbye, and we shall see you next week.
Take care, guys.
Take care.
Bye.